The RMS Queen Mary, which for many years sailed the high seas, is now a floating hotel docked in Long Beach, California. Reportedly haunted and hosts to many investigation paranormal groups, most folks venturing to stay aboard the Queen Mary overnight, whether skeptics or not, are usually trying to catch that one glimpse of something that might change their mind about the paranormal. There are many pay-for historical tours aboard the ship, and most of them allude to ghostly activity some way or another. We've taken all of them, and there's only one that we would recommend. That's the investigation itself, with equipment, that takes place only on the weekends. Currently it is hosted by Queen Mary docent Matthew Schultz, who has his own investigative team, website, and YouTube channel under the name Para Xplorer Project. Schultz is so passionate about the work that he drives nightly from the San Diego area and drives back daily in order to conduct these investigations.
I've had a personal love affair with the ship ever since I was about 8 years old. So to come back and host these tours all these years later is just a real wonderful honor for me. So long as it's excited to be here tonight, you guys are, believe it or not. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't know what you're expecting in terms of tonight's tour. And yes, you can videotape me, no problem. Yeah, you got my permission.
And that's the important part right there. Rule of thumb. If you ever go on a tour and they tell you that you can't video record or audio record, don't waste your money and your time. There's nothing to capture. It's just a historical tour. We know this to be absolutely true. We've done dozens of tours from Gettysburg to Honolulu.
Do you have any experienced investigators here or researchers?
If there really is something to capture, they want you to capture it. And then they'd like you to share that information with them. So what's the law say about it? The Supreme Court has ruled that people cannot be copyrighted. You can photograph or video anyone in any place that you have a legal right to be. If it were otherwise, there would be no surveillance in casinos or paparazzi. Now that's video. Audio is a little different. Recording audio is governed by wiretap laws, which varies from state to state. What the courts look at is the level of expectation of privacy.
And I don't say that lightly. I sincerely mean that. I get a lot of email from people and correspondence.
And on tours with a dozen other people, there is none. So record away. I just provided the legal information for other tours that you might find yourself on and want to smuggle a camera in on like I always do. The only thing the Queen Mary asks is that you not make money off of filming their ship, and that's certainly fair. It is their ship, and it's not like you put any money into rebuilding it. And that's why this video is not monetized. If you're not making money off of it, it's called journalism.
So it's not Frankenstein. It's more like a crab claw or whatever.
For tour guests that don't have their own equipment, Matthew will pass out a variety of equipment that he owns and teach them how to use them. Here he instructs one of the tour patrons on the proper use of dowsing rods.
About 8 inches apart, lower stomach area. Lower stomach, that relieves stress on your shoulders. And if you rotate your wrists and your wrists only and slowly, let's go down a little bit more. Look.
I would like to state that not all of the equipment that he has is stuff that we personally use. As an example, these dowsing rods are not something that we use on location, but that doesn't mean they don't get results. People do get results from them. They will detect electromagnetic fields. Farmers have used them for centuries to locate the EMF fields being produced by underground bodies of running water. But for us, I'll stick with electronics that do the same thing.
40 seconds and she's got it almost mastered. Beautiful.
I swear I didn't do that.
Okay. Now, I just want to warn you, you have to go, plump. That's going to be gravity, I'm going to tell you. Okay? So.
Regardless, these are fun to play with. Everybody should try it at least once. Other folks were given electronic detection devices to carry around for the rest of the tour.
It's okay if I show his picture. I have his picture.
What?
I just had to say good night to our guests that weren't feeling very well.
Keep it going. Ask it some questions.
Are you Johnny?
By the way, none of this is
Come on. Do it again.
John Petter. Ask if it's John Petter.
John
Petter.
Patter?
Are you John Petter? P-E-D-D-R. Ah, there you go. John, is that you?
Is that you, John? Yes.
You feel like it's
Are you still there?
still fairly weak, though. I mean, it's you're getting like a 3-bar on it.
It's got to correct
Yeah, a couple of times.
a couple of times.
This was supposed to be a 2.5 to 3 hour tour, But it easily turned into well over 4 hours, and I imagine it's that way on every tour if they start getting activity. And that's the thrill of it. You don't get any thrill from watching this video. You get the thrill from being there and doing it yourself. Consequently, however, a lot of this film has been edited. I had 4 hours of tape that I had to compress into 30 minutes.
Disembodied voices we talked about. You can be standing here and behind you, you may hear a couple guys start talking. But oftentimes they're talking in gibberish, kind of like Charlie Brown's teachers. It's like, whoa, here's some guys talking, but I can't quite make out what they're saying. Really strange. Very common with para voices. We talk about the touching, the ladies, we talk about the banging, so all that kind of stuff, you know, you can experience that. So we have a hotel above us, so you're going to hear some banging of hot water pipes, maybe water rushing through this pipe here, ventilation system, a motor that starts up the elevator over here. We want to be conscious of weirdness that happens at head level and below. There's no motors, there's nothing happening below, all right? And if you find a spot that you're interested in, hang out there for a little bit. 30 seconds is not going to do it. Hang out there for a little bit. Feel it out, get the recorders going, record audio.
No, look at that. Oh, we had a shadow and it's just a guy walking in. What is it? You like to be near her? Is it the interaction there? Is it,
Wait.
Go on, set it off. Go on. Set it off.
There you go.
Now, that's a nice strong hit. These K2 units are unshielded. They'll pick up almost anything. They pick up radio frequency and they'll pick up satellite communications. But we've learned from experience and testing that when they detect radio frequency, it comes through as a constant flutter, which is the modulation of the radio frequency itself. Radio frequency will not come through as an unpredictable, untimed spike and drop. But I don't know what satellite frequencies would do. I've never owned a satellite.
It's gone now.
Gone, huh? Oh, there
Okay,
it
it's
is.
you now.
Is it me? Is it me? Huh? My cell
Come
phone?
on, stop playing.
See if my cell phone's sitting off.
No.
No, it's not.
No, not your cell phone.
Not the cell. Camera? No, not
No.
the camera either.
It's right here.
Hmm.
Who is in here?
Go on. Set it off. Make it go off. Very good.
Good.
Keep it going. Keep it going. See if you can get it in the red. Make it stay in the red.
Make it
Go on,
steady.
get close to it. Get close to it. Make it flash all the way up. Keep it going. Put it in the red.
Done.
That's really pretty.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn off the ER. Let's see if we can get it in, because you can't see the actual. All right, now set it off. Now we'll see if we can get some color. I can't pick up the color one. It's an infrared. Go ahead, set it off. Come on now. Wave it. I know it doesn't like me. Wave it around. See if it. Go there. You go. Yeah. Now you're over there. Okay, pick it up there, buddy. Get close to it. Make it stay on. Go on.
Make it on.
Put it in the red. Get close to it. Make it go into the red. Keep watching. You're about to see this device get stuck on in its highest setting, something that I have never witnessed one of these do before. Like all EMF detectors, this device has a coil inside of it, and in order for it to register, the EMF field must pass at a 90-degree angle across that coil. Cheaper constructed units like this K2 are a single-axis unit. Once the unit is moved even slightly, the axis of that coil changes and that field will drop off. And we don't see that. Instead, it stays fixated at 20 milligauss plus while Jan moves the coil about. It's like something just climbed right into the unit itself. Fun with ghosts, huh?
Like it when I'm holding it?
Same type of device.
No.
Go on.
Like
That
it
will
when I'm
pick up
holding
an
it.
EMF field. This is, yeah, see, that's solid. That's what's that go up to, 25, 50 milligauss? That's a very strong field. For those that would argue that it must be detecting the Earth's magnetic field, that field is so slight these units will not detect it, or they'd be on all the time.
I love EVP. It's my favorite kind of evidence type because with a couple words from that possible spirit, you can get a lot of information. So much more than that blurry blob in the middle of the hallway that's supposed to be this incredible full body apparition. I mean, what's that blurry blob tell you? It's blurry and blobby, that's about it. But with words, you can get lots of information. You can get their an approximate age, a gender, a disposition, and a full-on message. That's why I love it so much. So let's play a couple pieces of evidence that were captured right here within the engine room, a couple EVP, a couple disembodied voices, and that bang sound. It'll show you potentially what you may have already captured if you're diligent about recording audio down here. If you don't know what you have yet, for the most part, nobody claimed to have heard a disembodied voice. Nobody claimed to get touched, I don't think. So, yeah. All right. So let's play this first one here. I always like to start off with this one because it's very easy for everybody to hear and understand. It was recorded by a fellow tour host. He did daytime tours once here. He's with a female staffer, and they were underneath the escalator where the trigger objects were placed. And he did a method where he recorded for 5 minutes and then reviewed. Recorded for 5 minutes, reviewed. So he discovered this EVP on the spot here during the tour and came running up to me and was very, very, very excited for a good reason. So he asks a very simple question and he gets a very simple answer.
John, are you back here? Yes. John, are you back here? Yes. John, are you back here? Yes.
Good examples of loud EVP and voices. They're not all that way. A majority of them that we get are whispery, very whispery. Matter of fact, I'll play one right now for you. July 10th, 1966 was when John Petter lost his life here.
Any of these examples that Matthew gives the tour and of which I show here in this video are not spoilers. You can find them on the ParaXplorer website or the channel. They're all recorded right there for you to pick up. The point is that all these blips of evidence were captured by people who were on this tour. It could easily be you that captures the next one.
Close the rods. Can you please close them?
Holy shit! Okay, we're leaving. Oh my god! Giant bang.
All right, so here we go. Do we have anybody here, any spirit people that would like to step forward and say hello to my friends tonight? John, got a lot of pretty ladies here tonight. Would you mind stepping forward and saying hello to them, please? Are any of these ladies your type? Well, we have one of these ladies above level trying to communicate with you, and she introduced herself by name to you and everybody else. Would you be able to give us her name, please? Just tell everybody your name again, so.
Katie.
Get a hit? All right, thank you. So we'll start here and we'll just go around. Feel free to ask a question. There are no dumb questions. Make sure it's nice and loud so it gets in everybody's recorder. Just give me a wave off and I'll pass you if you don't want to ask a question. Anybody here?
Come back.
No? Okay. How about over here? I know you probably have a question or two.
John, what do you think of the Germans? That was an intentional loaded question. Since John Petter was crushed to death in 1966, his feelings towards the Germans should have been neutral. He would have had no feelings at all towards the Nazis which occupied the ship as POWs back in the 1940s. If a negative response had come through, I would have suspected that something was amiss. As it were to be, unfortunately, no response at all.
My name is Michael. I was wondering where in England you were from.
We'll hold it there, but keep recording. You don't have to turn it off right now. Keep recording. This is, when we talk like this is the time that things can happen, right? So, I forgot, we had a couple things happen, or we at least had one thing happen. Somebody thought they felt a presence go by them on the stairs. What happened?
I was walking down the stairs, coming down into this area,
Yeah.
and it right around the corner there, and it got very cold at the very bottom of the stairs. It gave me goosebumps. And
Oh, okay. but it was a short amount of time.
Yeah.
It was brief. And I went out there 3 minutes later, and it felt normal.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you. And why don't you tell everybody about your experience?
Yeah, I was actually headed upstairs, and right when I like started to go up the stairs, I could hear humming, so I just kind of stopped, and I actually thought it was because there was a bunch of people up there, so I thought somebody was humming up there, and so I just asked them, "Are you humming, or do you hear that?" Because I could still hear it at the top of the stairs, and we didn't hear it. I think somebody else
Right
heard
before
it.
the humming, in that
Somebody
same
else started
area,
humming
I walked
too.
by the same area, and it just sounded like a quick whisper.
Oh, okay, now we got something else going here.
It was quick to dismiss, and then she talked about the humming right there in the same area where
Okay.
I just walked by, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I caught up just moments after you had heard it, I guess. You're still trying to figure out what was going on. I'm talking to you, and we treat each other just as regular people. So, yeah, just talk with them, not talk at them, if you can remember that, okay? Good job. Very proud of you guys. Excellent work. Perfect. So let's make sure we have all our equipment, mine, yours, and we're going to go ahead and leave the engine room behind. So, welcome to the women's changing room everybody. Back in the day, there were doors in every booth. They've been since removed, and on either end down here where you see some weird electronic panels, and down here behind this gentleman you'll see some speakers. There's a toilet room, and across from the toilet room is a really fancy, swanky shower with multiple shower heads that go up and down around the body. And some more is up there on the ceiling too. It's really, really cool. There's kind of an important area here that I want to talk to you about. It's something that you can't get away from reading if you do any research on the paranormal hotspots of the Queen Mary. And it's something called the energy vortex of the ship. And the energy vortex is supposed to be a doorway in which spirit energy can travel back and forth between our realm and theirs. And that energy vortex on the ship is supposed to be right here. Right here in the middle of the hallway, supposedly. It was discovered by psychic years ago. Some people do feel disoriented or dizzy when they come walking through here, right? But I can tell you from a science point of view, we haven't been able to determine that there's anything special about this area here. No energy shifts or anything like that we've been able to find. So I'll leave it up to you whether it could be such a thing. But I definitely wanted to mention it to you because it's, very, very famous right here. Yeah. Now, from my point of view as an investigator, I've experienced everything you can imagine in here. I've seen the weirdest shadow figures. I've had things thrown at me. I've heard disembodied voices. What's that? There should be. We have a guest back there? No? Hello? Charlie's back by the doors that we came through. What are you hearing back there? That's just noise. There's scuffling or something. Hello? That's common.
Okay, well, I want to be the last one.
That'd be great. But you come across. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's hearing some shuffling noises and stuff down there. That's common. That's common down there. So, yeah. Maybe we'll get some disembodied voices as we work tonight here. So, anyway, so I've experienced pretty much everything you can as an investigator. A lot of my guests have experienced those things too. Case, right there. Just hearing some stuff down there. So let's talk about two well-known spirits here within the pool area that tend to come in here. Number one is a ghost cat. We've known about a ghost cat here for a long time. All right, so ghost cat. So we've heard it, and Charlie has an incredible story where he saw it first night he ever started working here, not knowing any of the paranormal claims of the ship coming from straight from Georgia. And he saw it as I was introducing the pool area to my guests. I hadn't even talked about the possibility of a ghost cat here, and he saw it just standing at a distance. kind of walked by and it acknowledged his presence, looked at him, and then he turned around to look at it again and it was gone. So he had a really good story with that. So let me go ahead and play a really good meow for you so you can hear what it sounds like. Here we go. Whoop. It's me. That's not me. Thank you very much. So that's the cat. The other spirit, probably the most famous spirit aboard the ship, is a little girl by the name of Jackie. That's what she's called, and she's a little girl between 4 and 5, up to 7 years old. And to describe her spirit personality is to say she's just the epitome of a little girl, you know, happiness and joy, fun and excitement, fun and games, innocence. She's very well known for vocalizing, for giggling, and she's been seen. But we certainly have recorded her voice quite a bit. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of that. It's self-explanatory. Somebody asks a question and they get an answer.
Jackie, do you like candy? Is that somebody that did that?
Did someone hear that?
I heard that. I didn't know if it was a stomach or...
No, that was a candy.
That was a high-pitched child voice.
Oh, that's a candy.
Jackie, do you like candy? Jackie, do you like candy?
Yeah, very cute. This next one was recorded, so I'm a disembodied voice, obviously. This one's going to be an EVP. Nobody heard it at the time. So you'll hear me in the recording talk about putting a little, what I call my Jackie ball. It's a little trigger object ball down there at the end of the hall. And then you'll hear me say, I'm going to put a red light on it. That's our red night vision saving light from a flashlight. And as soon as I say that, you're going to hear a little girl say, "Don't do that." So on that review, I thought, I wonder if there's something about the red light that we're using these days that might irritate the spirits. Just the last 5 years plus using LED red lights. In the past, we've been using halogen or regular incandescent light bulbs with red plastic filters for our red light. Is there something about the red LEDs that bother the spirits? I wonder. So I started doing some experimentation with ultraviolet light and other kind of light sources. So it's these little clues that we get that we kind of run with and experiment with. So let me go ahead and play that for you. Also, I have what I think is Jackie's favorite ball. So we're going to put it right here. And I'm going to put a red light on it. Also, I have what I think is Jackie's favorite ball. So we're going to put it right here. And I'm going to put a red light on it.
Don't do that.
All right, so I'm going to go back that direction and I'm going to grab a little set of jacks and I'm going to set some jacks up at the end of the hallway there. Hey, Jackie. Jackie, sweetheart. It's Sunday night, our time. It's very late, and I brought some friends in here to play with you if you have some time. Jackie, are there any other people in here with us? Well, Jackie, I still need to have you tell me how to play jacks. I don't know. I haven't heard your voice yet to tell me how to play, so I'm going to ask every time until eventually you tell me, okay? So tell me, with jacks, Jackie, are you supposed to bounce the ball? We have to leave in a moment, so if somebody wants to make contact, if somebody wants to say something, now would be the time. We have to go. It's very late our time. Do we have any spirit person here that wants to say goodnight? Good night. Fantastic job. So go ahead and pick up your recorders, my equipment, your equipment, and we'll go ahead and exit out here.
On later review of the audio tapes, we found no EVP captures in the engine room or in the first-class change room area. However, there was a little something odd recorded as we left the first-class change area. It was captured by audio recorder just as Matthew is telling us to listen for background EVPs.
It's one of those things. You can hear somebody talking, but you just can't make it out. It's just barely audible.
When I played around with it in WavePad, I can't tell whether it's saying mama or told ya. Maybe you folks with better hearing can come up with something better than I got. This part of the ship was closed in years past due to the steep stairs necessary to access it.
Feel free to come over on the other side here if you want. Come on over, yeah. You come on close if you want. If you feel like you need to sit down, we got have a couple chairs there.
1, 2, 3 stories down. In those lower areas that you still can't get to is where German POWs were confined.
All right, so welcome to our deck forward, everybody. All the levels are named with letters. So we're on our level right now, and we are forward. Matter of fact, we're so forward, if you look down here, you'll see how everything comes to a point. That is the very tip of the bow down there. Kind of looks like a radio, kind of works like one. This particular unit will scan radio dial continuously. It never, ever, ever stops at a radio station, ever. It cannot do it.
We have these ghost box unit also, but rarely post finds from them, as the finds are highly controversial.
So the idea is that spirits might be able to use both those, static and the frequency switching as an energy, kind of like an audio energy source, to be able to jump in and speak through using their own voice. So we're looking for voices with character.
We did pick up a couple of good hits at the Hacienda Inn in Prescott, Arizona, but mostly we consider these devices to be more of a toy. But that's just our opinion.
So let me give you a couple examples of some hits that we've had, so you can get an idea of what it sounds like and what we might get tonight. All right, so I asked the spirits who was at fault for the RMS Queen Mary accident. His history shows it was the Carasoa. It went to court, and as all these crashes do. So, Carasoa. So you hear a blip, but I think you then hear Carasoa. Can you tell us which ship, Queen Mary or Carasoa, that was at fault? Thank you. Did we hear Carasoa there?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Still not going up.
I heard Carousel.
We're creating a lot of white noise here, so I really encourage everybody to record audio. You'll be able to document a really great hit if we get one, but also you may record one heck of a great EVP. So I'd like to reach out to the spirit people that might be with us right now. You're more than welcome to communicate with us by using this box, talking into our recordings. You can also touch us in a positive way, make contact that way. We'll let it run for a couple moments and then we'll start asking questions, but we'd like to validate your presence here by using the box. Please use your voice. We'd like to hear your voice as it is, please. Full character and all. Here we go. All right. If people that can hear me, can you tell us the name of the ship or board, please? Confirm communication, please.
About 5 to 7 minutes later, his request for the spirits to gently touch someone would come back to mind. I just didn't know it would be me. As I stood perfectly still, away from the rest of the group, trying to match K2 hits with the radio frequency that the box was picking up, my camera bag, which was hanging over my shoulder and resting against my back, suddenly bumped me hard enough that I had to take a step forward in order to steady myself. My initial thought was that it was Jan and she was trying to get something out of the bag, but then I looked to my right. She was standing about 6 feet from me. I immediately swung around with the infrared to see if another guest from the tour had moved around behind me. But seeing that there was no one there, I began to swing it in every direction that I could find to try to find what it was that had bumped me. Of course, there was nothing there.
Our location aboard the ship, please. You see where we're at? We have the bow or the stern of the ship?
Swung my bag around. Yeah.
Bow or the stern, please.
Nobody's around you.
Huh?
Nobody's around.
I don't see any, When Matthew stopped the spirit box session to ask us what we were doing, why we were being disruptive, I accidentally hit the record button, shutting the recorder off. And I told him that I got touched. His response was something like, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time," and went right back to the spirits box section. Well, I got news for him. It doesn't happen all the time to me. In fact, in about 90 to 100 investigations, this is the first time. I've always heard about people on location claiming that they got pushed downstairs, stuff like that. I'd never believed any of it. I couldn't figure out how something that could pass through solid matter could interact with something that has matter. Now I know that it does happen. However, I wouldn't have categorized this as a push. It was more like a nudge, like somebody bumped into me. But I could see that if I was walking downstairs, I could have easily lost my balance. This spirit box session would go on for about another 30 minutes without any quantitative or qualitative results. So I'm going to cut all the rest of that out and let's go right to the end of it here.
So I'd like to reach out to those brave Carasoans that gave their life for our country, for our world, actually. We appreciate the sacrifice you made. You haven't been forgotten. You're in our history books. We read about you. We know about you. So we thank you very much. So, all right. So why don't we go ahead and follow Charlie out. I will take the rear, make sure nobody gets ghost goosed.
Front of the Queen Mary by night. That's infrared, and I'm going to switch it over now to broad spectrum. There she looks like by night in the natural light. The following evening, we went up to the top of the bow of the ship, 3 stories above where we were that previous night, to test for radio frequency and show that the radio frequency hitting the bow of the ship is quite strong and active. This RF is coming off of the Long Beach shoreline. And of course we knew it would be there and that it would be strong. That ghost box unit works by scanning different radio frequencies. That is what makes the finding so controversial even to other investigators. Oh, here we are in the front of the ship and the K2 is just taken off. The predictably timed spike and flutter that you see this unit producing is what the K2 looks like when it picks up radio frequency. REM pod's not doing anything. This is the same K2 unit that one night earlier got stuck on. This shows that there is nothing wrong with this unit. It is still operating within parameters. Of course, none of this even begins to remotely answer the question as to what nudged me. In conclusion, this is the best investigation that we have ever been on that is publicly available. The investigation given at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado comes in second. If you're interested in ghost hunting but not really certain exactly how to get started, this investigation at the Queen Mary will provide you with equipment and Matthew will show you how to use it. He'll also teach you in the proper techniques of getting captures. And if you're a seasoned investigator, once you start getting captures and that adrenaline flows, you'll have a lot of fun.